Okay, ikut. Aswa mana Aswa? Tak nampak ni? Ada bakar sate ke apa? Sekarang ni 35. Oh, Intan semua dah ada
Dah.
Okay, bolehlah proceed Intan.
Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. Today, me and my group will present about negotiation on delegating tasks in French company. First, before I started my presentation, let me introduce myself and my group member. I am Intan Nur Suhana.
Okay.
Okay. And my group member consists of Nur Soleha, Hamidah, Najah Wahida, Siti Nadira, and also Nadia Shuhada.
6 of you, okay.
And for this presentation, every single of us will take turns in presenting our part. As been discussed yesterday, in Dr. Nomi's slide, we can see when meeting with French people, you need to be prepared for a vigorous logical debate. And this is how the French people actually communicate their conflicts.
Will you please explain a little bit on this slide?
For French people, when they wanted to solve their conflict, they will tend to debate all of the points from their perspective. For example, if I am having these parties with person B, I have a conflict with person B regarding a subject matter. For example, I would say that subject biology is better than physics, for example. I will try to prove my points from every single facts that I could gather in order to be able to win the conflict than the other party that I'm having dispute with.
Yeah, everybody, any questions from the audience?
These are among the examples.
Any questions from the audience?
Does you guys have any questions?
Regarding the France people? Ada?
Okay.
Okay, proceed Intan.
This will be presented by my group member.
Group member ada ke tak ada?
Guys.
Member.
First slide. Ella tak
Ella.
Yes.
Ella punya internet slow. Dia cakap.
Okay. Perhaps I can help. The situation 1.
Boleh ke?
Ada Ella.
Ella.
Okay.
Ella ada ni.
Calling from
Ella
Ella. From
Ni.
Planet Mars.
Ella, unmute. Okay. Ella.
Ella lain, bukan saya.
Oh, bukan Ella lain. Tak Ella dah pula. Sebab tak nampak muka.
Soleha.
Dia tak ada kan?
Ada tadi. Data dia slow tu.
Ada ni Ella doktor dekat dalam skrin.
Tapi bergerak ke tak dia tu?
Gerak. Gerak tadi. Gerak.
Bolehkah nak saya terangkan dulu sementara dia okey?
Boleh. Proceed lah.
So, to explain on culture conflict on French people, we divide by two situations. First is when the manager delegate the task based on the employee talents. How the manager want to negotiate the other employees to delegate the task. So, for example, Mr. Donald was given a task to Miss Alicia to conduct the new project on designing and data system. Next, Intan. Ni Ella punya juga ke? So,
Hamidah.
Mida,
Tak ni
silakan Mida.
Hamidah punya.
Yes, silakan Mida. Mida? Mida.
Hamidah punya tak dengar suara.
Hamidah kata dia tak dapat cakap, suara dia tak keluar. Bukan suara dia tak keluar, audio Hamidah tu tak sampai.
Aminah,
Tak apa, faham puas tu.
tunjuk video.
Mida, kalau kau guna phone kan Mida, kau kena tekan atas je Mida, jangan tekan dia punya mic je. Okay Mida?
Tapi saya tengok muka Mida saya dah faham lah doktor.
Kan? Inspirasi.
Okay, mungkin Intan boleh terangkan sementara Mida ke?
Based on the situation one, these are among the resolution on how we can actually solve the conflict. Do not present the demand at the beginning, but let up to them with the carefully instructed rationale. As we can see, the situation, Mr. Donald was given a task to Miss Alicia to conduct new project on designing and data system. However, perhaps Mr. Donald does not actually agree to do the job, hence raise a conflict between him and Alicia. So that is why before presenting the job, he needs to construct a rationale on why does she need to do the job, and then explain to Alicia the need to conduct the new project on designing and data system. For example, Alicia was chosen to conduct the new project because of her successful of getting tender from buyer for last project. Other than that, his determination on project design, which is she as head of project design gave her priority to conduct the new project. Meaning, based on this example, you can actually see that Mr. Donald explained thoroughly why Alicia is chosen for the project that he assigned to her. French people rarely make important decisions inside a meeting, so he gave Alicia time to accept the offer.
On the slide resolution 1, this one, Intan,
Ya, doktor.
in an example, Alicia was chosen to conduct the new project because of successfully getting tender from buyer for last project. That one to other than that, he or she? Other than that, she and who's determination that one? Mr. Donald or Alicia?
Mr. Donald, because he actually believes that Alicia can conduct the new project.
Kalau boleh kat situ nanti Mr. Donald nanti a little bit confusing dah.
Alright.
Other than that, for solution 2,
Okay.
Nadia.
Ada. Ella. Naik. Kat naik. Kat.
Okay. For the boleh dengar tak suara?
Boleh.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, for the resolutions too, French people are good at working independently and good at thinking deeply. Okay, mostly French people, they tend to work independently and also they tend to work alone rather than a collective group. Like I do a research. I read the research before. They said that French people love to do individual tasks rather than do a grouping task. Okay, next is the Alicia is creative and flexible. She does not feel bound to a decision that she made, meaning that from the uh, last what Intan said before, because of she is creative and flexible, she can what is it? She will be successfully to do their next task. And during the presentations given by the manager, Alicia is not just listen to the documentation, but will usually come back with a detailed comments. Means she will keep asking the question to the manager to do their task to get the uh, information when she do the next project.
Nadia,
Do you understand?
Nat,
Yeah,
can
yeah,
you explain a little bit on the background of between the two staff? Which one is actually French?
yeah.
Mr. Donald or Alicia? They are discussing about the French people, how they are dealing when
Mm-hmm.
negotiating tasks. So which one is actually the French? Mr. Donald or Alicia? Because we need to know which one. So this one, because this topic is related to cross-cultural. Okay, the
Uh,
related to cross-cultural conflict, meaning that when you present your situation, there should be at
mm,
least two individuals that comes from two different cultural background.
mm,
Okay, so in your presented case, okay, between
mm,
Aisha and Mr. Donald, okay, which one is
mm.
French, and then another one is from which culture? So at least you provide us with that background so that we are a little bit clear with your case here.
For Alicia,
Uh,
she is a French people,
French.
but for Mr. Donald, we didn't decide what culture.
Yes.
So then meaning that you need
Yes.
to determine that because what we want to
Okay.
is what are the conflict arise between two different cultures. Okay,
I think he is American.
American. Perhaps later you need to improve the slide then state a little bit description regarding the two employees background. Okay, so then
Okay,
Alright,
Doctor.
Miss.
the crowd will be a little bit clear lah regarding your case. Okay, okay, next.
Okay.
Okay, Doctor.
Ada lagi kan?
Ada.
Okay.
Tentang.
Ha? Ada lagi? Baru ni baru
Next slide.
Suara tak dengar. Dengar tak suara lah?
dengar.
Dengar lah.
Dengar.
Okay, for resolution 3, um, sekejap. Okay, so Alicia is not Alicia only. The manager and the employees have to always be prepared on what will happen in the future. So to resolve the conflict. For example, Alicia need to prepare herself. Maybe she will be chosen for the next project because of the successful project before. And for the manager, he need to be prepared for the next candidate if Alisha determined not to accept the project. The few names must be sorted out before the decision is made. Contohnya macam kalau contoh, diorang kan French people kan straightforward. Alisha mesti akan macam dia ada decision dia sendiri sama ada nak accept ke atau tak. So kalau dia tak nak accept, so the manager itself diorang kena prepare untuk another names. Itulah yang saya. Kita ada komen.
Next.
It's okay, next. Nanti saya bagi komen.
Okay.
So, as for this is for the situation 2 where Miss Alicia reject Mr. Donald's suggestion on delegating the task. She preferred to involve to innovate new application for the customers. So to resolve this conflict, first, our suggestion is we know that French employees try to defend their opinions with logical reasoning. So to resolve this conflict, Ms. Alicia can approach her manager by stating her opinion on the matter. However, there is a need to for the debate or the discussion to be handled with mediator, as French people tends to be frank and they prefer more on idea rather than relationship. They mementingkan idea mereka daripada perhubungan antara dua hala. So that's why it is important to have orang tengah to make sure there are no bigger conflict in that situation. So that is for the first resolution. Second, Najah. Intan.
Najah ada ke?
Najah.
Ya.
Najah dapat tak?
Saya nampak ada Najah. Oh, lupa nak unmute, sorry. Dengar ke?
Dengar.
Nah,
Kalau untuk resolution 2, in France, the employee has the right to reject the task given for a valid reason as they are being transparent with each other. So kalau macam mana nak? Tak apalah. So second one, the employee have the chance to go to other departments to get new experiences as they have individual objectives to be achieved. Kalau contoh Miss Alicia ni, dia kan French people kan. So kalau French people ni, diorang dah terbiasa dengan norms yang kita be transparent. Contoh kalau tak nak, diorang ada hak untuk cakap tak nak. And then kalau dekat France sendiri, the employee has the chance for them to get new experience at other departments also. So for them to untuk diorang tingkatkan diorang punya career macam tu lah.
Najah dah ke?
Any question?
Macam dah?
Any question from the crowd? Tak ada.
Kenapa tak sebut?
Our last point. Intan.
Next slide.
For resolution 3, Miss Alicia, she is the one that been given the project, right? So she should seek for clarification on why she is tasked for that project. She could also meet with her manager to communicate the issue. And by meeting the manager, she could grasp the idea on why she is chosen for the project. In dealing with French people, it is best for you to use emotional intelligence. So, in my resolution, if the manager is a French people, and French people, they tend to be emotional in making their decisions. Hence, if Alicia wanted to reject the work, she need to be able to get into the position of the manager and tackle his emotional so that she will be able to be passed from the project.
Okay. Can?
Yeah, that's it from me. That's it from us.
Okay, we open to the crowd. Any question from the crowd? Do you understand the whole story?
Yes.
Understand?
Yeah.
Doctor.
If I wanted to ask a question,
Very
um, what are the difference between French and Malaysian? Because you give example for American and also French, can? So maybe you can compare French with Malaysian.
Okay. Let me answer that question. If we are in Malaysia, we can see that most people in Malaysia they tend to uh, take care of each other's heart. And to make it simple words, people in Malaysia they did rather not saying the thing that they wanted to say to that particular person and say it behind them. Compared to French people, they are very direct. So for an instance, if there are anything that they wanted to voice out, they will directly voice out to the other party. And for the emotional intelligence, French people tend to be more emotional compared to Malaysian people.
okay. Answering your question, Haifa?
Yes, but I would like to hear from doctor's opinion, the comparison.
I answer Haifa's question. Okay.
Thank you, Intan.
It's actually okay based on the story. Okay, they try to portray that if let's say Mr. Donald is someone from French. Okay, so he is actually when he's going to give the project to his employee, he need to make sure that the employee is really capable too. So how he know? Because French people when they make decision, it is based on logic. Okay, based on rational decision. We want to give the project to the employee. We need to make sure that that employee able to accomplish that project. So based on Alicia's record, okay, based on Alicia's previous performance, he managed to show that he successfully completed a few big project. So that's why Mr. Donald give that project to Alicia. Okay, so if let's say another case, if let's say Alicia is a French person, okay, is someone from France, okay, so the French, so once been given the project, okay, as a French person, she tend to ask why she's the one who was given that project, okay, she tend to ask because a French person, you need to remember that they are very logic. They are logic. So then she need to know why. Okay, if let's say she accept it, okay, and then because she like it, perhaps the reason given by by Mr. Donald, reasonable.
Doktor lapar ke?
Pasal letak nama kat, letak nama lain. Okay, okay, and then if let's say Alicia refuse, actually Alicia does not want to accept that project. Perhaps if let's say she want to reject that project, she may come up with a polite reason why she couldn't do so. Polite but yet reasonable reason. Perhaps because she has another project running on. Okay, so she give a reasonable and logical reason to Mr. Donald. Okay, regarding the high pass question, what are the differences between those from French and Malaysia? So French person, even they are very direct person. Somehow, in terms of emotion, even when accomplishing any task, they are more direct. They are more straightforward. But somehow, uh, when we compare French and Malaysia somehow they tend to speak behind at the back. Okay, if let's say the job apa tu your the manager give a task to a Malaysian employee, okay, the Malaysian employee tend to just accept the task, okay, without questioning back why they were given that task. Okay, they just accept as it is. Okay, and meanwhile the French person they tend to ask why, the reason why. Okay, this is not because they try to argue with the boss. No, they just want to know the reason. Okay, why they've been chosen for the project. Okay, and then another comparison is Okay, even though Malaysian we know that they are really friendly, but but French in terms of relationship, in terms of the relationship, French person they tend to make sure that the job is done rather than thinking of the relationship between them. For them, the accomplishment of the job must be the priority compared to the relationship. But somehow Malaysian they think more on the relationship rather than the job itself. For example, if let's say you can see the Malaysian entrepreneur, for example Malay entrepreneur, okay, they somehow they tend to give discount for relative, more discount to relative. For example, this one is the example lah. Okay, but in terms of emotion, if let's say you can see that French person, they they are very sensitive. They are emotionally sensitive. So that's why if you aware lah, French ni terkenal dengan kota cinta, betul? I
Betul.
kat French kan. So emotionally dia orang ni sangat sensitive. So meaning that when you are trying to give your opinion, you are advised to use a polite sentence, a polite words. Okay, you can be vocal, but at the same time make sure that the sentence used, the words used is very polite. Okay, so am I answering your question, Haifa?
Yes.
Okay, so thank you.
Doctor,
Ada siapa lagi
Doctor,
soalan? Ya.
Doctor, I want to add something. Hamidah want to say something, but she didn't have data to say about that, so I will say what she want to say. She said that difference between Malaysian people and French people, employees, is that Malaysian culture with have a strong hierarchy rather than in French. The employees have the right to give their opinions openly, freely.
Yes, correct, yeah.
Hamidah,
Superior, according to superiority.
Yes, correct. Because Malaysia is on somehow bureaucracy. Bureaucracy is still active. Sure. Okay. Any other question from the crowd? Mana tadi?
No.
Luqman tadi nak tengok Hamidah tadi. Mana? Luqman, do you have any question? Okay, no.
Hamidah hilang ke?
Any question? Oh, Hamidah tengah pegang muka.
Oh, Hamidah
That
tidak
is Hamidah.
Mana Hamidah?
Alhamdulillah.
Hamidah.
Here she is.
Apa tu Luqman? Hamidah dah ada dah. Okay, tak apa. Okay, don't struggle guys, tak apa. You all tak dapat attend the virtual class, will be okay. Saya tak, kelas ni somehow you can access anywhere. Okay, nanti bila saya dah upload nanti you just access from there. Okay, so saya tak ambil attendance pun during the session. It somehow at least bila kita ada kelas, you all pun ada activity dekat rumah. Okay, so the recording will be uploaded anytime. So saya faham yang you all duduk dekat serata Malaysia ni, not everywhere the internet online, the internet line are strong. So it should be okay. Okay, so saya faham. Okay, so shall we proceed to the next group?
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
Yes.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
Okay, who's next? Who's next?
My group would like to volunteer, Doctor.
Which group?
No. My group. Sekejap Nisa, are you in?
Yeah.
Okay. So we're going to proceed.
Present tunjuk muka.
Okay, can everyone see the slides?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. So, Okay, our topic is how to negotiate. Before that, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good evening. Okay, so our topic will be cross-cultural conflict. How to negotiate with people from United Kingdom, UK, British, British, and then this is our group members, which is consists of 5 members. Siti Nur Sharisa, Haifanis, me, and Mushrifah Munira, Zonghiran, and Nur Alia Atira. So the introduction part will be presented by Sharmisa.
Apa?
Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Video
Yo, check it out. Yo, check it out.
Ya, tunjuk muka.
Okay, Bismillah. Ya,
Nisa,
muka
I
saya
can
ni,
see
doktor.
you.
Kenapa?
Doktor, saya dah tunjuk muka dah, doktor.
Tak Sat tengah cari. Tak Sat.
Ada, doktor ada.
Ada.
Dia nak make sure yang muka dia keluar dalam video. Sebab nanti dalam video ni dia akan keluar ikut yang apa tu yang ada depan ni je. Mana muka dia ni?
Hello.
Suara ada. Sat cari gambar. Cari muka.
Doktor tekan yang apa? Yang bar ada satu untuk speaker sahaja tu.
Okay, misi untuk mencari Sharisa. Come on.
Okay ada. Jumpa.
Apa?
Jumpa. Ya Allah. Makin kurus lah dia.
Jumpa tak? Jumpa.
Jumpa.
Okay. Okay, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to all of you. So basically, our group represents on how to negotiate with people from the United Kingdom, by which we specifically on a business environment. So here is the chart from the Louis something. It's also from a British psychologist, and he said that people in the United Kingdom tend to avoid confrontations in understated manners and humor style that can be either powerful or inefficient. So like you can see on the chart is the British peoples, they tend to start a negotiations with a small talk, by which the small talks including the briefing, they introduce each other. In the British peoples, they prefer to build a lasting and trusting relationship rather than just straightforward to the decision making, because they are more interested in building a long-term relationship. So in terms of the communications in British, if we negotiate with the British peoples, they tend to speak in a more controlled fashion, by which they really emphasize on manner. Like we all know in the Kingsman, manners make man, the Britain itself. So we have to keep the conversation as quiet as possible. And if you want to make a business negotiations with the British peoples, they prefer to do a negotiation within a group rather than we relies on the personal individuals. Because in Britain, they the amount of people in the team of the negotiator, it symbolizes or it signals that there is a need or there is importance in terms of in that meeting. If you only send only one people to negotiate with the British peoples, they will assume that that kinds of negotiations or that kind of things that we want to discuss it with them is not really important. So that is the reason why if you do a business with the United Kingdom's company, you have to send a team of a negotiator, but not too large, because if you send too large members for the negotiations, it may indicate that raise some suspicion. So moving on to how the reasonable proposals keep calm, coded speech, understatement, and humors of vague stylings. So for next level. So in terms of negotiation with the British people, next one.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, that one. So
Right.
they really emphasize on attitude and style. So if you want to negotiate with the peoples from the United Kingdom, the negotiation styles is a cooperative, but they will also open with a more compromising if it was viewed helpful in moving the negotiation forward. So basically, in terms of the British people's point of view, a kind of negotiations is a joint problem process by which two parties the two parties, for example, this is the British peoples and this is the Malaysian peoples, they tend to join problem process by which they are very cooperative in terms of getting into the result or decision making. If there is any what we call as a dispute arise, the British people also may compromise with with whatever the other parties. For example, this is British peoples. They want to eat McDonald's, but then the author wants to eat KFC, for example. And then after a long term discussions, they also may compromise if this kind of a conversation or if this kind of a negotiations will move forward the decision making. For example, you keep on arguing McDonald's, KFC, McDonald's, KFC, and then there is a okay lah, KFC lah, then there is the result. So they are also very open in, but bear in mind, it's not like a Malaysian people's. British peoples are very punctual on time. So you have to arrive 5 or 10 minutes earlier rather than 5 or 10 minutes like what Malaysian always do. That's all from me. Thank you.
All right.
Very fruitful presentation.
All right. So the next one will be presented by me. The second one will be sharing of information. So British people is known by their image, which is they are always be prepared. They can prepared in any situation when it comes to bargaining or negotiation. They do a background research. So before they negotiate with the people, they will meet later on. They are preparing in every single situation so that they are able to answer and also give a very reasonable answer to convince the people so that they can compromise the decision making. Okay, they also rarely go for blind discussion. And like Nisa said, they also gain trust through bargaining, and they also does not take sensitive question negatively if the other sides of person which are discussing now, if they ask a very sensitive question, for British people, they don't take it as a negative or counter attack. They think that is a very normal way for us to make assumptions or also ask any related question, maybe that are confusing or something, and so they can answer by giving all the data and also all the information that already prepared by them. Okay, so but in for British person, any misleading information could lead to unfairness and rude to them, because they came prepared with all the data, with all the analysis. But if the other person who are beginning with them, they put another misleading information which is already out of the topic, usually they will back out, because they are very take any discussion very seriously, and they think it is very rude um, to counterattack with misleading information. Because as you can see on the slides, British person is very calm and coded speech, which is they are using very proper way to deliver any information, and they are also they can also very the understatement, which is they tend to ignore if that question is very I guess if it's not important, very important, they will just ignore, because but for them a very serious discussion will be fruitful at the end of the discussion. But if the question from the other side will be very confusing and it's not important, they will not gonna compromise on that. So I think that is all for sharing of information. Do you have any question on that?
Any question from the crowd? Soalan? Ada. Okay, Thank you, Haifa. Very
Okay.
good. Thank you. Okay, next. Siapa? Who's turns now?
Next, Dong Yiran, is it?
No, Mushrifa.
Oh, Mushrifa. Okay, sorry.
Yes. Okay, before that, can I ask that my voice is clear? Everyone can hear?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Even
Thank
my
you.
dinosaur can hear you.
Okay. Okay. Assalamualaikum and a very good evening to all. Okay. So today I will presenting the negotiation part in UK business, specifically the bargaining. So for the bargaining that conducted by the British, first I would like to introduce about the bargaining. What is the bargaining instead of negotiation? The bigger topic. I would not want you to confuse that the bargaining is more to a monetary subject. However, for the negotiation is for the whole subject. Okay, can you understand that up till
Yes.
now? Okay, so for the bargaining, if you want to know, the British people, they are a kind of person who is tough negotiators. However, tough negotiators meaning that they are very content and they are very rigid with their stance. However, they don't like to defeat the other parties or the counterparts. So they will try their best to strive for the fairness in the bargaining process. Okay, and then the British people, they are analytical and often receptive to outside ideas, meaning that here, even though they are tough negotiators, they are open to any discussion related to the bargaining subject, and they are very accepting. They can accept our point of view in a very open way. So there will be no tense situation happen during the bargaining. So in order to counter back the British people, the arguments that we want to deliver to their parts must be based on concrete facts and also informations. Meaning here that any exaggerated claims or bragging about your point of view or your stand will not help in getting the um, consensus of the both parties. Okay, so the way that they are bargaining for the British people, first they are straightforward and honest in their negotiation. They don't like to give false information, just like what Haifa said just now. And um, in order to maintain the situation in a very friendly way during the bargaining, they will not use any lies or um, any information that is contradict to what is their their initial intention.
Preference.
Okay, and then they will use pressure technique as long as they can be applied in a confrontational fashion. So the British people, they don't like to pressure other people. If they do so, they will make sure that their implementation of using the pressure technique will not at the end bring tension to the other parties, and they will make sure that the friendly relationship between the both parties are maintained until the end of the process. Okay, so they will avoid aggressive techniques because the signs of anger indicates negotiation went wrong. So anything that is associated with the aggressive technique, such as the um, uh, aggressive, any acts that is can be perceived as aggressive to the other parties, whatever it will straight away or it will cause anger to the other parties, right? We will know that. So they will try their best to avoid that. And then emotional negotiation techniques driven to defensive tactics. Okay, so for this one, emotional negotiation techniques, meaning that attitudinal bargaining, sending dual messages, attempting to make you feel guilty or anything, will drive the British to a defensive tactics. How they do their defensive tactics is by carry their what we call it, focus away from the subject, or they will intently moving or shifting their topics to the others, or because they want to make the process shorter, so they don't want to hear any emotional negotiation during the bargaining process. And then the written offers, terms and conditions help shorten the bargain process. So for you to negotiate with a British company, they will love more if you can provide them with tangible documents or substance that they can see and they can touch. Okay, and then bribery is rare. For the British people, they don't do bribe. Of course, in this world, they will have bribe, but in this case, there are many cases saying that UK people, they are very manners oriented person. So in a bargaining system, which is involving money, they will avoid bribe as much as possible. Okay, that's all from me. Is there any question?
Ada soalan?
No.
Thank you Mushifa.
Okay, you're welcome.
Okay, next.
Okay, hi. Everyone hear my voice?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
can hear you.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. So next, I proceed to the decision making. So decision makers, he's a person who will consult with others and carefully consider their input. So in decision maker is a very important person to make a decision. So in a decision making consists of in Britain, sorry.
Slide.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
Making Haifa.
Okay.
This one. Okay.
Decision making. Okay. I proceed. Decision making. The British use top-down decision making, which is they give the authority to from the top to the lower management. So if the lower management wants to make a decision making, they need to have a approval from the top management. So yeah, as you can see, delegate authority to the lower rank, which is the top management will give the delegate authority to the lower management. Okay, then when making decision, the British tend to allow established rules and practices, which is they will follow the organization rule rather than not follow the practice in that organization. So the next is the British focus on empirical evidence and objective rather than feeling and experience. So the next is British business people may be low and moderate risk taker, which is they accept the challenge, but they want to make they want to try something new, but in a low and moderate risk. Yeah. So any question about decision making? Hello? Any question?
No.
Okay, very clear.
Okay.
Thank you, Alia.
Are you clear?
Right. So moving on to the next part. Are you ready?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, Ira.
Yes.
Okay. So I will introduce the pace of negotiation. In generally, the British people, they negotiate in a slow pace, because so when you negotiate with the British people, do not try to accelerate the process. Please allow plenty of time for them to discuss, and they will, and don't worry about the effectiveness, because they will have their system. They will, for example, they will list down their goals and their objectives in a list and in order, and they will handle one by one. So they will pursue their action and goals systematically. And the next is British people is a monochronic culture. That means they don't want to handle many things at the same time. They only take one things to handle at, and they can make sure these things can be managed well. So they maybe have conflicts with the another with the persons like from the highly polychronic cultures like Asians, Arabics, or some Americans, because the polychronic culture is they want to handle many things at the same time. It's more rely on interpersonal relationship. So maybe have the conflicts like this, and the British people don't like interruption. So when you negotiate with the British people, you should be willing to negotiate items individually, and in the process, if you are not very conform with your choice or with your action, you should tell them clearly that maybe you have another contingent choice. If you don't do that, they will think you are. If you don't do that, if you already confirmed this, but you regret later, they will think you are cannot be trusted. Is this clear? That's all from me.
Yes.
Okay, Q&A session. Come on.
Q&A session, yes.
Yuran, can you repeat the meaning for the monochronic?
Oh, okay. The monochronic culture, they don't, because they don't want to handle many things at the same time. They only choose one thing. Handle one, this one.
They cannot multitask.
No.
Yes.
Oh.
Not because they cannot multitask. Because when you negotiate, make sure you have one leader that's going to negotiate. You cannot, when you are negotiating with British, you make sure you only have one negotiator.
Doctor, your audio is so slow.
Ya, slow ke?
Suara doktor slow sangat.
Ya, dah kuat sangat saya dah. Okay, dengar tak? Dengar.
Okay.
Dengar.
So actually, monochronic meaning that it does not mean that you they cannot multitask. No. It's when you are in negotiation with them, okay, make sure you choose one negotiator only. Okay, they do not want to negotiate with too many person at one time. Am I correct, Hiran?
Yes.
Continue. Any other question for the group?
Anything else?
Tak ada.
Like I only see the same person. The seniors ada ke kat sini?
No, don't have any question.
Faham.
I just asked. I saw the same person je, so I guess macam I wondering lah, the seniors ada ke tak? Oh, okay. Sorry.
Bagi ada. Rosenthal.
Okay lah, I stop slide share.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next group.
Bye. Betul.
Ya. Najla.
Nak present.
Okay, Najla.
Oh, nak present, okay.
Angkat tangan Najla.
Saya dah siapkan.
Apa dia kat tangan tu?
Najla, maksudnya dia nak present betul.
Dia tak sabar nak present.
Tapi doktor, grup kita orang sama dengan Intan.
Sama dengan Intan, apa tu French?
French.
Kenapa terpilih sama?
Tapi saya dah ter-share dulu screen.
Apa dia?
Siapa ni?
Tapi
Tak apalah, Aisyah dulu lah Aisyah.
the example would be very different, right?
Saya
Sama ke? Example similar or different?
Dia punya culture sama je lah macam diorang punya.
Culture. Okay, kalau sama,
saya punya.
perhaps you try to explain in different angle. Okay?
Different.
Mungkin ada yang tak sama lah, different angle. What I mean. Dah. You ready?
um, doktor group saya pun buat French juga.
Ramai yang buat French. Kenapa minat sangat dengan French ni?
Ramai ya.
Doktor dengar
Tak ada
tak?
siapa buat Israel ke Israel?
Saya pun doktor.
Israel interesting.
Sebab semua orang betul.
Sebab semua orang suka French.
Okay.
Ramai pula buat French. Okay. Mana dah?
Hilang dah orangnya.
Mana dah? Najla?
Najla angkat tangan.
Aisyah.
Zuzut tengok muka Intan.
Aisyah.
Macam Intan ke yang Fizzle lagi?
Menang.
Okay, dah nampak dah. Lepas tu Nadia pula.
Nazia, kau start dulu. Aisyah, dia punya internet putus.
Allah.
Aku dulu
Aha.
Okay, Syed masuk.
Kat mana pula?
Kau diam. Kau boleh pokok diam.
Ya.
Ayah, okay, Cun.
Nana ada tak Nana?
Ada kan tu?
Dah ada.
All of you already back inside?
Yes.
Yes.
Saya tengok rasa macam rasa macam rasa macam excited to start class. Terbaik as father.
Doktor kita
Tu
akan masih
Syatira,
teruskan.
pasal.
Jap, tengah cari.
Eva?
Sementara Syatira cari-cari line tu saya nak tanya. Kita memang akan teruskan kuliah bulan Jun ke doktor?
You, boleh ke tak?
Betul-betul balik lah? Balik UPM bulan Jun tu?
Not sure lagi.
Sebab
Final
depending
exam
on
online
the instructions tu, macam physical class memang tak ada kan. So it will be virtual juga.
Actually yang akan masuk tak datang. Yang akan masuk kerja kan? Kerja kan?
Sebab tu tak dengar.
Tak dengar lah doktor. Dah kuat dah ni. Okay,
Macam tiba-tiba mic doktor hilang. Macam tu lah.
okay, actually yang akan masuk kerja nanti hanya we all. Okay. Ada lagi until official announcement by our TNCAA lah. Plus yang masuk kami tu yang kena mungkin akan masuk kerja, tapi sebenarnya even until now UPM still not allow us to come to the campus. Dia kata still kita orang kena bekerja daripada rumah. So I thought kerja kat rumah okay, kelas macam ni pun should be okay, right? Semua
Tak okey.
Not okay.
Kenapa tak ramai tak suka virtual class? Kenapa?
Tak okey doktor.
Kan best tak payah pergi mana-mana.
Oh, you all tak okay kelas online. Saya suka tau.
Okay. Saya suka tak payah siap-siap.
Okay, doktor. Tu, kain batik kat bawah tu orang tak nampak tu.
Saya suka dan even kalau attend meeting, even attend meeting bila online macam ni, so saya akan lebih fokus baca dekat slide instead of bila duduk depan-depan ni. Sebab kalau saya rasa kadang-kadang
okey.
Lagi best doktor.
Tapi kesian dekat kawan-kawan yang tak ada line.
ataupun
Probably.
memang kesian sikit. Tapi actually dari saya nak ada alternative in which after this kan saya akan upload dekat YouTube. So memang meaning that you can access it every time lah anywhere. So,
Better.
mungkin macam live tu you all tak boleh access, it's okay, but mana tahu tengah-tengah nak tengok gosip tu kan dekat YouTube, perhaps sometime so bolehlah tengok kejap kan. So maksudnya make sure that you revise all the lectures recording before the exam lah. Cuma our limitation perhaps untuk exam sahaja. Sebab risaulah kan sekarang all the information is available in the internet. So we have to make sure that the question somehow the answer of the question are not available in online. Itu je kami kena buat.
So meaning tu by the end of June pun nanti all the student pun tak balik college lah kiranya
Yes, exactly. Mungkin kelas kita orang tak tahu start bila. Mungkin bulan 10.
Allah, kesiannya baju-baju saya dekat bilik ya.
Doktor, can we proceed?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, proceed. Sorry.
Are you ready? Yes. Yes. Nak balik
Wah,
mana?
gelap besar eh.
Mana siapa?
Syatira.
Please share the slide.
Tak boleh.
Tadi ada.
Kalau tak boleh orang lain share kan. Lepas tu cakap lah, boleh je.
Siapa yang boleh
Baca
share?
bismillah, baca bismillah.
Sekejap baru nak download.
Wali.
Dia boleh tapi kecil kan.
Tak apa, boleh zoom.
Tak apa.
Apa Cap?
Wali tak.
Boleh zoom. Boleh?
Boleh tak? Nampak tak?
Zoom.
Nampak.
Boleh.
Nampak.
Tak apa, kita dekatkan muka kita kat skrin, tak apa. Demi shot okey je.
Cuba apa ni? Rotate. Put.
Janganlah rotate.
Boleh ke?
Boleh.
Ni handphone ke lah?
Putlah dia jadi besar sikit kan.
Boleh tak?
Betul.
Nampak dah?
Syabida.
Dah. Okey dah.
Okay, Assalamualaikum semua.
Waalaikumsalam.
Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Hola.
So hari ni my group will present cultural conflict from French people perspective, and here's my group members. Next. Shaldira next.
Next. Ya? Next. No, introduce ke? Tak jelas.
Next.
Apa yang next.
Oh, okay.
Inilah masalah yang terjadi, doktor.
Okay, next.
Iwan, ya saya dengar Iwan.
Okay, so here's the introduction of the country. I'm not gonna touch into this. You can read it by yourself, but I'm just gonna simplify. What are the cultures of French people? They have two ways of talking. They can speak formal and informal. But when you start talking to French people, you cannot start with our culture. For example, boys, kau dah makan ke belum? Like that. But then French you cannot speak. Even to meet. And then French people generally they talk and debate a lot.
I tak dengar langsung. Sangkut.
Putus-putus.
Dari awal ke tak dengar?
Dia terputus-putus.
Yang since you cakap simplify tu terus tak dengar dah.
Okay. Okay, French people, they have two ways of speaking. They can speak informal and formal. Unlike our culture, like boys to boys, they tend to speak like for first time meeting, kau dah makan belum? Nama kau siapa? They tend to talk like that. But then French people, you cannot speak informal as soon as you meet the people for the first time. It is very rude. Okay? And then French people, they generally talk and debate a lot. They are very straightforward. If they say they don't want it, then they don't want it. You cannot persuade them in other ways. And then French people, their work culture, they very highlight their work-life balance. For example, shops and shopping malls and cafes at French, they don't operate past 6 p.m. They usually around 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. only. Okay?
Okay.
And then French people also, they are very professional. They don't, they separate their personal life and their professional life. So you cannot
meeting them for business purpose and ask them personal questions. It is very rude. And then you have to make advance meeting appointment with them. You cannot ask them impromptu meeting, just like us. For example, at 1 p.m., our manager.
Najla unmute.
Doktor
Okay,
mute ke
dengar tak?
Najla ke?
You
Dah dengar.
Okay. Okay, and then their lunch hour, they tend to have lunch for up to 2 hours. They tend to have full course meal. They have appetizer, they have main course, and then they have dessert, and sometimes they will have wine. So it's not a surprise if you work in Paris or France, your lunch hour will be up to 2 hours. Okay? Okay, next. Atira, next. Okay. Here's the country culture. The first one is attitudes and style. Just like I said, and just what in times group said, French people are very arrogant, especially towards foreigner, because they have their self-pride in their own country. Dengar tak?
Dengar. Clear.
Dengar. Clear.
Okay. For communication, French official language is mostly French, but they can speak English, they can speak Spanish, they can speak Italian, because their country is surrounded Belgium, Italy, Spain, not Spain, Germany and Switzerland. So they can speak almost all language, but they have their in so it's important to work in to
Najla, we couldn't hear you.
They have
Putus.
their what? I tak dengar. They have their what?
Najla.
Najla, kenapa kaku?
Ulang balik.
They
Yang kat
have their what?
communication
I tak dengar.
Oh, they have their own pride in their own language. They prioritize their own language. If like you are working in France, you need to be able to speak at least French. Okay?
Like mother tongue.
Dengar tak?
Dengar.
Dengar.
Dengar tak?
Dengar.
Dengar.
Kau cakap dengar tak? Mesti kita orang dengar.
Okay, for bargaining, they use deceptive techniques. Deceptive techniques ni, they tend to mislead their consumers and give false statements. Or you can say they usually use fraudulent if they don't like and not interested in the bargaining. Dengar tak?
Dengar.
Okay. Sometimes they will use limited authority tactic, which is they will say like, okay, I will ask my manager's approval first, and then they will ghosted you like for I don't know how many years if they are very uninterested in what you are bargaining. Dengar tak?
Dengar.
Okay.
Dengar.
Okay, for pace of negotiation, they usually use surnames and formal introductions. Unless they started using informal introduction, then you can proceed with informal ways to speak with them. And then they are very hierarchical, and they are very polite, and they are very friendly. Okay, next. Okay, next.
Nana.
Dengar.
Okay, Nana will proceed the presentation.
Sebelah Syed lagi.
Kat next.
Okay, for the French people, when they negotiate with you, they tend to use polychronic work style, which is they love to do many work at the same time, and also they will make sure there is inline goals. Okay ke?
Okay.
Okay. And also they will nego using a holistic way, which means they will not see for one angle only. They will see for the whole picture. And then French people also, when they discuss a topic or business with you, they love to jump and forth, which they don't have a sequence order. For example, they explain A, and then suddenly they interrupt for a Z thing. So there is no sequence order. And so for our action is that we have to remain calm and patient, and we must understand them because that's the way they work. And also the most important is when you don't understand, just ask. And when you don't understand A, you ask A. And then when you don't understand C, then you ask C. Understand?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, Nana, I understand.
For bargaining, actually, French people don't like to bargain or nego, actually. So, but when they have to nego or bargain, they tend to use deceptive technique, which is they will tell you lies or misrepresent the items value, the value of the items. So the action that we can practice is that we must straightforward with what we want, and don't too easily influence with what they say. So you just must stand with your what principle or stand. You guys understand?
Yes.
Next
Understand.
is next. Allah.
Oh, dia conteng apa tu?
Ada contoh apa pula?
Okay, for communication, if you guys heard French people speak English, mostly of them didn't fluently speak because of they tend to have their own slang in the when they speak. Do you guys
English.
understand?
Diorang suka
They
cakap
speak
bahasa
English,
ibu
They
dia.
use as a prior French language
Orange.
kan. Orange.
Yes, walaupun diorang cakap bahasa Inggeris, tapi still ada diorang punya slang. So mostly people will not understand. So the action that we can take is that probably we can see a translator, interpreter with their yes, and also admit lah, and tell them honestly that you can't speak French or you can't understand the French slang. And then most important is make eye contact in order to build the trust. As you know, French people is so emotional. So they probably will offended if you know, like you seek a translator, and then if you don't tell them why you seek for the translator, they may misunderstood. You know? Faham tak?
Faham, Nana.
Okay. Next. Attitude and style. For earlier, Najla said that French people is very aggressive when negotiate, so that they tend become more aggressive when they debate with you with a logic reason. So for us, it is important that we don't be aggressive, because aggressive, nothing works. And
So
then
aggressive.
yes, if not, will not reach to the mutual agreement. Yes, that's all.
Thank you.
Terima kasih buku.
Any question?
Terima kasih buku.
Clear.
Hamida mana Hamida? Any question from the
Any question?
No.
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next
Me.
My group.
group, Aisha.
Aisyah.
Okay,
Nampak tak?
nampak?
Nampak.
Oh, okay. Aisyah, where is that?
Alin jadikan dia slide.
Besar
Maksudnya jadikan dia slideshow dulu and then share.
Dekat present view tu.
Maksudnya make it slideshow dulu, lepas tu share again.
Dah, Aisyah.
Assalamualaikum everyone and very good evening. So my group will present about on how to negotiate with the French. Next, this is my team members as usual. It would be me, Ahman, Acha, Walin, and Ain Zainal. So we proceed to our first point. Alin, next. Thank you. So for our first main point to our topic, on what approach should we adopt when we are dealing with the French? So the first point that we find is when we are dealing with the French, we need to address them by their surnames and ensure that we are in a formal we introduce ourselves in a formal way. So for an example, for surname, let's say the name of the woman that we are dealing with is Nadine Louis. So we will call her by her surname, which is Louis. It would be Miss Louis or Madam Louis or anything. So it quite different with our culture, which is Malaysian. We will call by our names, right? Not no one ever call me Hamzah or whatever, right? So for the next point is when we are dealing with the French, we need to show politeness and formal style. As the previous group have said earlier, politeness is very well known among the French. And as for me, and in my opinions, politeness is the basic courtesies that we need to implement in our daily life. So there's no problem if we meet or dealing with the French, because politeness is number one when we are in a conversation. So the third point is when we are dealing with the French, we need to be prepared for a logical discussion along the way, because as Dr. mentioned in the slideshow that the French they are very logical thinker people. And they also will directly oppose our point when what we are saying is total contradict with their logical thinking. They are straightforward. They will strictly oppose our point. So the fourth is be prepared for a long and wordy discussion. It's different with some of other culture where we prefer for a
short and a fruitful conversation at the end of the discussion. But it's different with the French. They prefer for a long and a wordy discussion. And move to the next point, we need to avoid from making important decision inside the meeting. These are quite related with the previous point where we need a long and wordy discussion, but at the end, we cannot simply make a straightforward decision to our discussion. From here, we can see that the French is actually when they say that they need a long discussion and they don't want to make a fast decision, because along the way they need to analyze to anything that we try to deliver during the discussion, and from that they will take some time to digest to what we are saying, and they won't make a fast decision during the meeting. And lastly, when we are dealing with the French, we need to talk simple and be sure that we are clear to them, because the French they are known as they are lacking in language skills. So from that, we know that we need to be simple in conducting our discussion with them and be clear. Next, so that's it for the approach that we should adopt when we are dealing with the French. And move on to the next point is on how to empathize with the French. So as the first one, as I said earlier, we need to be in a logical thinking. So we need to stick to logical thinking at all times by avoiding any types of nonsense, because the French is, as I said earlier, they will straightforwardly what we say apa orang dia
Approach
sebenarnya
her. Approach her.
apa orang panggil dia akan straightforwardly
Approach
bukan
and
confront
dia
Cakap tak
akan
bunga-bunga.
dia akan potongkan ayat kita kalau kita cakap nonsense and not
Mencabut or cut off the conversation ke?
bukan yes. Dia merasa apa yang kita cakap tu tak mengikuti logical thinking mereka. That's it. Hello?
Okay.
Okay.
Aisyah done?
Yes.
Okay, so I will proceed with the presentation. The next point on how to empathize with the French is, as Aisha said earlier, that French are talkative, so they are willing to appear more talkative than usual, meaning that if we want to negotiate with the French, we also have to be more friendly. We have to talk more, so that we can negotiate with the French. If the French is the only one who talk more, so they think the other person cannot negotiate with them. So if we want to negotiate with the French, be more talkative also. And next, last point, French naturally leave them open to charge of arrogance, meaning that the French tend to be somehow arrogant when they in the discussion, but they are not that arrogant, but they tend to be arrogant Understand tak?
Faham.
Understand Walin.
Faham Lin.
Faham Lin.
Okay.
Walin, siapa Walin?
Okay. Last slide. So, if we want to negotiate with the French, we must know their personality first, right? So, this is some type of their typical thing to know about the French. First, they have the limited time management skill. As in the first slide that Aisha discussed, the French tend to be they tend to have
Straightforward.
a long discussion and wordy discussion. So they anticipate much more longer discussion even without telling them it's okay because they love to do
Discussion.
long discussion. And next, also we have known that French are very talkative and they also need to be listened to. When they are talking, we need to listen so that they know that the other person uh, know what they talk about. And we have to be very patient and take a lot of notes of what they been talk because all their talk is not gibberish. Their talk is fact logical. So we need to take note everything that they have said. And then third, different from the British, French need a confrontational approach in the discussions, meaning that they love to be confront. So you need to tell your feelings, your opinions. They are open to it. So you need to counter back their. If you do not agree with their decision, you can counter back and explain. They are open to it. And next, we need to give and require a direct feedback. Do not soften the message. So you just give a straightforward feedback. If you don't like it, just say you don't like it. Uh, if you say you don't like it, but in a berkias, they will not entertain. And lastly, fascination for their culture and history, meaning that French love if people compliment them. So if it's one tactic, if you want to negotiate with the French, you need to compliment any of their successful history, successful event, so that when you compliment them, you will get something in return. It's like negotiation, some technique. Okay, that's all from us. Thank you. Any question?
No,
No.
Irene. Sebab
Not
bising.
Thank you.
Welcome.
So thank you Aisha's group. So next group,
Saya.
siapa tu?
Saya Aidil.
Okay, group idea.
Bukan lah doktor.
Gas.
Okay, siapa? Cepat.
Saya ingat
Pasal.
Al tu.
Apa dia?
Dua
Saya ingat
orang.
Al.
Oh.
2 orang je present.
2 orang je.
Idea dengan siapa yang akan present?
Saya dengan Al.
Oh, sudah. Lokman.
Aidil dengan saya.
Okay, proceed please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. So today we are going to present about France also. And this
Semua
is
orang buat
our
France ni.
Oh, semua sama doktor.
this is our group members.
Dia nampaknya
So basically, I will explain more about the history of the country, and Aidil will focus more on the working culture. So historically, French culture was influenced by Celtic and Gallo-Roman culture as well as the Franks, the Germanic tribe. France was initially defined as the western area of Germany known as Rhineland. But it later came to refer to a territory that was known as Gaul during the Iron Age and Roman era. French is the official language and the first language of 88% of the population. It is the dominant language of the country's 70 million residents, but there are a number of variants based on region, which mean based on each region, there are their own variant. French is the second most widely learned foreign language in the world. For their religion, Catholicism is the predominant religion of the France. 64% of the population.
Show your video.
Ah,
Show your video, please.
video.
Tak nampak muka pun mana?
Your face.
Ah, doktor,
Tunjuk
saya punya
muka.
PC tak ada kamera, doktor.
Alamak.
Saya mengharapkan ada insan-insan mulia yang boleh sedekahkan
Tak
saya.
payahlah, dah lah.
Next.
Apalah.
Okay, teruskan.
Doktor,
Tak, ni tak pakai MacBook, ni pakai PC, so tak ada kamera.
Dia saja doktor, dia saja.
So the religion is Catholic. Other religion is Islam, Buddhism, and Judaism. And from 23 to 28% of people in France do not subscribe to a religion. Working culture in France. Definition of working culture, according to Frances Frey and Anne Morris at Harvard Business Review, is culture guides discretionary behavior and it picks up where the employee handbook leaves off. Faham tak apa tu?
Tu.
Faham. Tak faham ke?
Apa tu? Apa tu, Lokman?
Tak. Apa tu?
Discretionary behavior ni refers to the employee behavior yang not recognized by the formal reward system. Maknanya bukan behavior yang formal dia lah.
So it is
Faham tak?
good or bad?
Apa dia, doktor?
It's a good behavior or bad behavior for your organization?
It's good behavior, I think.
Okay.
Macam mana benda tu tak ada dalam sistem kerja diorang, tak ada dalam dia tak bagi tahu pun formally apa yang diorang perlu buat. But itulah maksud dia, behavior.
Okay. Kerjaan betulkan discretionary.
Idea pun dah tersandar dah, tak tahu nak cakap apa.
Okay, Lokman. Kerjaan tu betulkan dengan discretionary. D-I-S-C-R-E-A-T-I-O-N-A-R-Y. Okay, discretionary ni, it refers to the voluntary behavior inside the organisation. Sometimes, for example, you were given a task and then you should do A, for example. But you give extra effort, you do A and B.
Yes.
Extra work. When your organisation have a good culture, so somehow it encourage more discretionary behavior. For example, in your organisation, maksudnya the organisation just give a priority to performance, but somehow you want to in your organisation you want to do more. For example, you want to involve in voluntary activities in your organisation. For example, cleaning the workplace. Something that is extra. It is not entitled in your KPI, but you do it voluntarily. Okay, continue.
It promotes the efficiency and effectiveness of the organization. Correct. Yes. And then employees make hundreds of decisions on their own every day, and culture is their guide. So the work culture is their guide of their when they are making their own decision. And obviously culture tells us what to do when the CEO is not in the room, which is of course most of the time. So next I will pass the presentation to Aidil.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Play kat dulu.
Next slide. Okay. So I will explain the working culture in France. So in France, they prefer hard work than workaholism. This means that mereka lebih pentingkan productivity masa bekerja. So kalau contohnya diorang terpaksa buat kerja overtime, maksudnya diorang tak produktif lah dalam pekerjaan tu. So kedua ialah many French speak and understand English but prefer not to use it. So macam yang diterangkan grup yang sebelum ni, French ni ada diorang tahu banyak dialect dengan language. Antaranya ialah Catalan, Breton, German dialect.
Okay. Try
Ya, doktor?
to speak in English, please.
Okay, tak ada. So, as we know, France have different dialects and language. So they have a lot of dialects, which includes Catalan, Breton, German dialects, and Basque. So next is the culture is French people have longer lunch hour breaks, maximum to 2 hours break. So usually the workers in France, they tend to close, the business people in France tend to close for lunch, and the employees spend time with their families at home. So they spend more time with families. Next is practice work-life balance. This means that in France, they work for 35 hours a week. So they prefer to spend, the government lebih pentingkan bekerja dan spend masa dengan family for their workers. So next, Al. So next is they appear extremely direct and not afraid. Al. So they appear extremely direct and not afraid of asking probing question.
Sorry, dia kelas sendiri tu, Dil.
Okay, so French people is very straightforward people. So they do not like Malaysian or American, which for us we are not a direct person, right? So like if we have conflict within people, we try to negotiate with a good manner. For French people, they tend to direct, be direct to their people.
Yes.
So next is French workers are more inclined to give direct negative feedback. This means that, for example, uh,
they don't agree.
Okay, kalau kita buat kerja dengan orang France and kita puji dia, tapi kita tak straightforward kat dia, kita suruh dia redo kerja tu, tapi kita masih puji dia. So dia orang takkan buat kerja tu balik sebab dia orang dah dapat pujian tu. Dia rasa kerja dia orang okay lah. So kalau we need to straightforward to them if we don't satisfied with their work. So next is Americans live to work and French work to live. This means that they prefer to
work,
to spread their work and simply set work-life balance lah. So kalau bila dah habis masa kerja, dia orang takkan buat kerja, and email pun dia orang takkan buka kalau dekat rumah. So dia orang they will keep working on the working time.
So meaning that they really take care of their work-life balance, is it?
Yep. Okay, next is possible conflict with those country. With French country is there are two, which is workplace ethic and language barrier between two parties. That's all.
Any explanation regarding the workplace ethics and Language barrier?
Okay, for the workplace ethic, just like explained just now, this is
They focus
regarding
more
their
on
culture. Their culture. Previous slide.
Deal? Kenapa deal?
Previous slide.
previous
Lagi ke deal?
Lagi.
Lagi, okay, boleh deal.
Okey je internet Aida dengan Lokman.
Saya internet power.
Ya, doktor.
Kamera je tak ada.
Dah lah.
Itu kadang ya, doktor slide. Okay, for the work ethic, for the work ethic, Al.
For the work ethic, okay, for the work ethic, the French work ethic
Sama
is
je kot
good,
macam Aida
right?
cakap tadi. Dia orang focus on more work.
Yes.
Rather than family punya
Life
business
balance.
kan.
The work ethic has been explained by the previous group.
Ada. Okay, just like
Dia orang punctual.
Satu punctual. Another thing is because the French ni they really take care of their work-life balance. So mostly if let's say the rule of the workplace is they have to work at 8 and 5. So for sure at 5 they will leave the workplace. They will come.
Yes.
Then don't never ask them to do extra work.
Yes. No
Pasal
OT.
dia orang tak ada OT ke doktor?
Depends lah.
Ada.
Kalau tak ada then tak ada. Maksudnya kalau bukan
Overtime tu kira rare lah berlaku kat France. Dia orang ada.
Dah lah kita.
Dia bukan tak ada OT. Cuma if let's say kalau dia punya based on dia punya contract of employment, they have to work at 8 to 5, then that's the range for their working period. If let's say they have to work from 5 to 9 for example. So itu je, masa tu sahaja dia orang akan bekerja. They won't go for extra. Okay?
Yes.
In terms of discretionary ataupun voluntary work tu dia akan kurang. Okay? So any other
Okay, doktor.
Saya.
So I think that's all from us, Doctor. Thank you. Bye.
Kita nak tanya, it's just that the slide yang diorang bagi ni, they focus more on cultural background kot. They don't emphasize much on negotiation method on French and French people. I guess sebab I macam terfikir yang ni negotiation ke dia nak cakap pasal kriteria.
But I thought somehow this group they present the background of the the French people.
The French people.
They try to complement with another two earlier presenters. So maksudnya dia complement sikit lah. Mungkin dia ada lacking in certain area. Mungkin dia tak ada on cross cultural conflict, tak ada sangat. But macam yang
they emphasize on the criteria.
For the first group tadi dia tak ada on the background. Right, so dia macam complement the first group.
We compliment each other, Doctor.
Whatever.
Okay.
Dah lah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Next group, how many groups left? How many groups left?
Apa hang?
Doktor minta Azfa, doktor.
Aspa, group Aspa, ada personal request. Aspa, how many groups left?
Aspa dah tersungkur, Doktor.
Astagfirullahaladzim.
Ada Aspa. Okay, how many groups left? Cepat. How many groups left? Siapa nak volunteer ke?
Mau cinta us, doktor. Mau.
Jack kan?
Jack.
Okay, Jack. Where are you, Jack? Where are you?
I'm waiting for Mona. Mona is disconnected. Her internet got some trouble.
Okay. Hi, Mom.
Hi. Maybe later give us a minute. Sorry for that.
Okay. pula. Allah hai.
Dia
Asfar,
adalah tetap. Dia dah tak ada dah.
spotlight dekat Asfar ni.
Asma dah tersungkur doktor.
Doktor dah tak ada lah.
Ada kat
Adam je tinggal. Adam lah.
Asma ada, dia tersungkur tu.
Okay.
situ je. Adam mana Adam?
Adam ada. Syari. Adam.
Ada.
Tadi tak ada Adam.
Ada doktor ada.
Ada Adam.
Asas pun ada doktor.
Asfar. Dia buat nakal pula.
Asfar, siapa ajar nakal-nakal ni?
Asfar, are you
Tu dia.
ready to present?
Saya minta Adam lah doktor. Slide kat Adam.
Mana-mana pun boleh. Adam pun boleh. You pro.
Doktor Azan.
Iwan group sama dengan Adam dengan Asfar ke?
Muka Adam ni nampak macam apa tu, apa nama ustaz yang kahwin dengan Ina Azman tu? Muka Adam pula, muka Asfar. Apa nama ustaz yang kahwin dengan Ina Azman tu?
Ina Azman?
Ina Azman kahwin dengan Datuk je tu.
Kahwin dengan Datuk doktor. Jangan salah.
Ina Naim. Ina Azman pula.
Oh, Ina Naim.
Naim tu siapa?
Ina Azman terkejut saya.
Oh, yang bumi tu flat.
Ya betul.
Sama lah. Okay, shall we start? Adam. Siapa marah kat saya ni ha? Batuk dah.
Bolehlah saya start lah doktor.
Tak ada gambar ke? Tak ada muka?
Demand video. Demand.
Laptop tak ada kamera juga ah.
Tipu.
Saja.
Laptop kau tak ada kamera sembang ah.
Oi, Lokman. Okay, shall we start? Asal dah.
Boleh doktor.
Satu ada. Ya Allah, handsome-nya.
Doktor, I'm away jap
Okay, Adam, start.
Asfar.
Mana? Siapa nak start ni? Ini anak rindu ha.
Asfar.
Mr. Adam, can you start Mr. Adam?
Okay, so Assalamualaikum and a very good evening. So our group, which is me, Asfar, Iwan and also Farhan, will share about the business culture on the Australian culture. Okay, so during meetings, Australian people they prefer if we make the appointment for meeting a few days in advance. Okay, so we have to like book appointment with them, telling them that we want to meet them or we want to have a meeting with them, and we have to indicate what its objective of the meeting, and if we have a written agenda, we can also share to them because they like it They appreciate it. Sorry. And then business cards are exchanged over introduction without formality, meaning that the action of exchanging business card is not formal. It's just like uh, it's just given out only if there is a need for another's contact details. And then you may introduce yourself by your full name, but expect them to address you by your first name. Okay, meaning that kalau if we Malaysian, we deal with Australian people. Okay, so let's say I introduce myself. Okay, my name is Adam Ihsan bin Mazani. I introduce my full name, but Australian people will address us by our first name. Okay, next. Okay, communication and relationships. Australians are quite direct and clear-cut in their business communication. They are rarely intimidated by other status or importance and speak plainly when conveying their ideas. Okay, meaning that here that that no matter what your position is, so if in communication, in business communication, they will speak plainly. So like for example, if I am a manager from Malaysia and I want to deal with Australian employee at Australia, so it doesn't matter to them that even I'm a manager, so they will speak not like us speaking to our orang atasan upper level, meaning that they will speak to us like we are on the same level. And then Australian are also likely to be open if they disagree with you. This is not to say they will be rude. They will usually be diplomatic in their approach, but I expect them arrive straight to the point without euphemism, meaning that if they don't agree with your deals or your terms, and they will say it, they will let you know. So there will be no euphemism, meaning that there will no be, like cover-cover, cakap manis. And then because of their matter-of-fact approach, Australians do not feel it necessary to relationships or business. They will be more interested in your experience and the longevity of your company. However, they are open to cultivating business friendships, especially in long terms, because it may be benefit to them. Okay, I think that's all for me. Asfar, can you take over? Any questions?
Any question from the crowd?
Okay, no, thank you. Asfar?
Aju.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Adam. I will
Yes.
continue with hierarchies. Okay, for the Australian people, manager may seem to simply be another member of the team as they only keep a marginal power distant. When we talk about the hierarchy, we can say about the Australian people, how they want to make decision making. So for the decision making is concentrate at the top of the company. Although decision are made after consultation with subordinate, but the decision can only made by top of the company, which can make decision making slow. So manager generally try to reach decision atau inclusive avenue so employee can feel involved in the decision making process. So for the Australian people, when we say about the hierarchy and the negotiation, we can say that the Australian people get down to business quickly, a minimum amount of small talk. So like Adam said, they are very direct and expect the same in return. And of course, when they come to the negotiation, they expect some win-win situation. Next. And for the consideration, employee of government-funded organization may only be accepted if they have a low dollar value and may have to declare to the Human Resources or Finance Department in advance. So when they face with a problem, Australians tend to seek a quickly resolve and move on rather than reflect on what has happened. They generally don't like to dwell on past errors. So of course, not only for the Australian but other country also, when they have some problem, they quickly resolve and try to move on. So for the Australian people, because of their straightforward, they also did not like a high pressure technique. So you cannot force them to accept it. And they also accept informal ways. So you can break some ice before you talk to them, before you discuss them. And they like to talk about sport like rugby or football, or you can ask about the weather. So next. Oh, that's all from our present. So they have any question?
Any question from the crowd? Mana apa tu? Haifa mana Haifa? Haifa, any question? Haifa dah tak ada dah. Mana Haifa?
Tak tahu.
Any question from the crowd?
Tak ada. Saya baru lepas solat. Sorry.
Okay, it's okay, it's okay. Okay, so tak ada kot soalan Okay, thank you Adam's group, Adam and Asfa group. Thank you. Okay, so next. Ya Allah, lawanya bilik Adam pula, bilik Iwan. Bilik Adam lawa juga bilik Iwan. Dia punya bantal tu pink. Okay,
Mana?
Ada tu pink bilik Iwan tu apa tu? Mana? Next group. Jack, are you ready?
Yes. I want to know JJ. JJ, are you ready?
JJ.
I'm here.
Okay. Okay, where?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay, can you share the slide, JJ? So, what's the group?
I will share the slide. Okay. Can you see, guys? Hello.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So hi guys. My name is Mo Jinghai, and today our group is me and Mona and Wang Zhao, and the three of us. And today we will talk about is how to negotiate with Chinese. Okay.
Very good.
And next is the Chinese tend to be more direct than the Japanese and some other East Asians. However, meetings are principally for information gathering, with the real decision made elsewhere. That is the information from the last lecture that the doctor shared the slides. Right, and I think, in my opinion, is the Chinese maybe sometimes they will be more direct to make the decision if they have like the full information, enough information. And however, sometimes also Chinese is very careful and because they want to know all the information. If they cannot really know the information for maybe from their partner, they also will not to make the decision. Okay, so next, my point is friendship first, then business later. That means the first is be prepared for a long-term relationship. For example, like a company A, they make a deal with company B, and company B, they sell some product to company A, right? And after that, after the deal is finished, that not means the relationship is finished, because maybe sometimes in the future the company B also will make a deal again with company A. So the usually for Chinese company, if they have like make deal with other company, they also will like to make friends with other company, because you cannot to see in the future, maybe you will be cooperate again. And also next point is the business is off while friendship is on. Maybe sometimes we cannot make the deal, we cannot to make the cooperation, but that not means we are not friends, or we cannot make a business in the future. So if this times we cannot make the business, maybe in the future we can make business. So we will make the relationship, and we will make us to be together, and we also will keep connect. And the last one is neither friends nor rivals are everlasting, but only profit. That means also sometimes maybe in this time we make a business, we make a very successful business, but maybe in the future we will be like the competitor, or you will be my enemy. You know what I mean? So we also will make friends with every companies. Maybe sometimes we are the competitor, or in the future we also will be friends. We also will do some cooperation. So the roles is going to be changed in every time. So in Chinese company, the very important value is friendship first and business later. So that is my point. The next is Mona.
Hello, good afternoon, doctor and friends. Next, I will talk about another style about the Chinese negotiate. Is take their time. Actually, it's a special style for Chinese because they always want to take the time in the negotiate. Firstly, because it's characters in Chinese. Every Chinese will be very cultured. So, for example, when the two business, whether after the discussion, maybe the Chinese businessman will say, yes, I'm interested in your business. But after maybe 1 month, you will get the opposite result. Actually, it's no, because maybe after the thinking, the businessman may think some disadvantages. So why they say yes firstly? Because in Chinese, they may show our palate firstly. So they don't want to maybe hurt your heart. So, and also why we always take the time in the negotiate. In China, we think for the long term negotiate will be come out the better result. If you just negotiate a short meeting or short, it's like we just negotiate for a short time. Maybe we didn't think very well. So in Chinese may for our style is to take the time for the negotiate. That's all from me. Thank you. Next is JJ.
Hello, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Because I'm in China, so my internet is not very well. But if there are anything, please let me know. So for my view, from my point is intermediary. For this one, is very special for the negotiation style in China. In China, the intermediary is not the negotiator. The first bring up the business issue to be discussed, and the intermediary often settle the differences. And I will give more the explanation. For example, A wants to do the business with B, but A and B don't know each other, and there is not a good trust relationship between them. So at this time, the intermediary say is a friend of both A and B. So A and B can build a better trust platform through they. They can also plays a role in resolving differences in business negotiation. So in China, the suspicion and distrust characterize all meetings with strangers. In business, trust can't be earned because of the business relationships can't even be formed without it. And instead, trust must be transformed via the relationship. That is, a trusted business associate of yours must pass you along to his trust and the business associates. So in China, the crucial first step in this phase of the negotiation, called non-tasking sounding, is finding the personal link to your target organization or executive. Do you have any question?
In intermediary. What does intermediary mean, JJ?
What?
Orang tengah kan doktor?
Intermediary, what does it mean?
The intermediate for this is a person to connect two people.
Between, yes.
Mediator.
Middle person.
Okay. Okay, proceed, JJ.
Yes.
Okay. Guys, do you have any question? Can I ask?
Okay, any question from the crowd?
No, thank you.
I have one question.
No question.
I have a question.
I have a question.
Okay.
Okay, Asfa first. Asfa.
Okay. When we talk about Chinese business, I believe that Chinese very motivated with some kind of wisdom word. So can you give some wisdom?
Macam Kaizen tu ke Asfa?
Kaizen Jepun.
Alah macam tu ke? Macam Japan kan motivate by Kaizen kan?
Mana Asfa tadi dah hilang dah? Asfa?
Yeah.
Could you repeat again, because I cannot really understand the questions.
Okay.
Asfa, we couldn't hear your voice.
When I see some okay, hello.
Ya dengar.
Okay. I believe that Chinese people is very motivated and believe with some kind of wisdom word, and they hang some wisdom word piece to motivate them to very productive with every day. So can you give some example of famous wisdom word from the Chinese?
Is wisdom word or wisdom words?
Words.
Wisdom word.
Word of wisdom.
Word of wisdom or famous saying to motivate businessmen in China, maybe?
The wisdom word.
Cari. Asfar ni.
Ayo Asfar.
Nak tahu.
Ayo.
You mean the Chinese people, they will more like the Western country, Western world?
Yeah.
Maybe in my opinion, because in old China, we don't have like the very good technology, like for example, to build a car, right? Like we cannot build a car like BMW or Benz, something like that. So we will buy the technology from the Western countries. Then we will learn the technology. Then we will mix some Chinese, maybe Chinese their own minds. Then we will build our own car. It's also like the Malaysian car, right? The Malaysian car, for example, like the MyV, the company Proton, they also buy the technology from the Japan, the Honda or Toyota. I'm not very sure. So we also very like to learn the Western technology. Is that what you mean?
Okay.
I thought I'm not sure either it is correct or not. But I thought most of the business person they will follow the Confucianism from Chinese.
Yeah.
Most of the okay, I have one question for the group.
Maybe.
Okay, my question is how actually how to build business how to build trust among the business among Chinese businessmen. How to build trust, because I'm aware of one thing. Chinese businessmen, it is really hard to develop trust with them. So how actually we want to tackle this
Okay.
part?
Okay. In my JJ, you I think you can explain.
Okay, sure. So for this point, I just mentioned about it. So in China, the businessmen is hard to develop the trust. So there must be a person or the platform. For example, I just give an example. For example, I don't know the Jack, but I know the Mona, and I want to do the business with Jack. So I need one person. That person know me and Jack, and usually in China we are going to eat, to dinner together, and to develop more the trust. So we need a middle people. Do you want to add something?
Yes, I want to add is usually Chinese people sometimes if they want to build the relationship, they didn't build the relationship either in the meeting. They will build relationship maybe in restaurant.
In the leisure time.
Yeah, if they like have the dinner, they will talk more about the detail or talk more about the business. Sometimes if they are very happy, then they will say, okay, I will cooperate with you. So I think maybe have a lunch or have a dinner with Chinese businessmen. They will be more happy than maybe than a meeting. So that is my opinion.
Okay, so meaning that if let's say you want to get the trust from the Chinese businessman, you need to make sure that you show them something that something that trustable, something that they can trust.
Yeah.
Okay. So ni ada Musyrifah Munirah tanya, the wisdom word to lift up spirit of workers in China. Do you guys have it? Please share if you have. Okay, so
Doctor, that is the question just now. I want to tell them, but it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's okay.
So any other question? The group already presented, right? All the groups done?
Yes.
Okay, so I thought that's all because I thought it's more than 2.5 years already. 2.5 years pula. 10.5 hours already. Okay.
Wow, yes, bye.
Okay.
Lama tu doktor.
Itulah lama sangat dah ni Rin. Okay. So I that's all for today. You all of you may access later our video for today lab station. I will upload. Okay. Okay, thank you guys for today dan selamat berbuka puasa
Thank you
Thank you,
doktor.
Thank you to semua.
Selamat
Selamat
buka.
berbuka puasa. Selamat Hari Raya.
Selamat buka. Bye bye.
Selamat Hari Raya.
Raya.
Bye-bye.
Kelas lagi Asfa. Okay, next week ada kelas
Bye
lagi.
bye. Ni ada budak bye bye dekat doktor ni.
Itulah bye bye. Comel betul anak Rin. Macam mana nak end meeting? Okay, Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Salam.